But let me ask you this, man. You guys had Kanye West on. It's been almost a year now, right? At this point.
Yeah, almost exactly.
Yeah. So, and it was, during the whole situation that he had going on with talking about certain topips. And you guys brought him
what
in.
topics are those? What are we discussing?
Maybe you can find out on Rumble.
Yeah, there you go.
What was that like having him on? Him walking out. He brought Milo and Nick. What was that whole experience?
It was planned.
Yeah.
Why did he walk out?
Yeah.
It was planned.
Give us the full story behind the scenes.
Let's give them the full story before what you guys think. I mean, when they came in, I of course greeted them with saying shalom, and they were very happy to get this greeting. But before everything kind of transpired, everything was very cordial. Everything was very relaxed. We were talking about health food. I'm big into health food. I'm big into eating clean. We were having a full conversation about that. We were just kind of like vibing, hanging out, and everything was very, very cool, very relaxed, very laid back. But as soon as the cameras turned on, it seemed like there was a definite an energy shift, and things changed in a very weird way, which I didn't really understand
What was he
myself.
like before the cameras came on?
Smart, articulate, calm, reasonable, asking, he was inquisitive, and then the camera turned on, and it was like he just faked it.
That's when I left the room. He was cool until I left, and then he got nervous.
No, we're hanging out with him, and he's talking like this. So what do you think about Mike Pence, right? I'm trying to figure out how I win this presidency. What do you think, Tim? Can you tell me how do I win the presidency? And I was like, well, I don't have the answers to that. And then we talk a little bit, and he goes, I asked you a question, Tim. You didn't answer me. How do I win the presidency? That's what I'm here to know. And I was like, all right, you want my honest answer? It's not about convincing people to vote for you. It's about ballot harvesting. He goes, ballot harvesting? He's like, well, explain that to me. And I was like, Democrats didn't win because they convince people they're right. They just get people to fill out a vote and then have more votes. And he's like, no shit. So we're sitting down. So this is like we're walking up the stairs, we're talking, we're sitting down. Calm, reasonable, rational, dude's a genius. Like, I think he's putting on performance, because he looks up, we have the big screen and we have a news article, and he's like, yeah, Milo, what's up with this? Mike Pence, he's like a traitor to Trump or something like that. And Milo explains, and he's like, interesting. And then when he writes down ballot harvesting, he goes, I got what I need. He says to me.
Oh, he wrote it down when you said
He wrote it down. And he's like, I don't need to be here. And I said, I know. You can't get more famous than Kanye West. I was like, you don't need to be here at all. We're glad you are. And he goes, right, but these guys tell me I should. Camera turns on, and he goes from, so before we're live, he asks me about the media, who controls the media, things like this, obviously. Yeah. And we'll save a lot for him, I suppose. And and I said, oh, come on. I mean, like, there's powerful people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and then he makes his comments very calmly, and he's like, well, but I think blah blah blah. Camera turns on, and then he goes, yo, I'm telling you, man, like, the thing we got with this show. And I was like, wait, what the heck just happened?
It was like Dr. Jekyll, Dr. Hyde. And it wasn't just a ballot harvesting idea. We had an idea saying, hey, if you do concerts, and if you want to get into your concert, you have to register to vote. That would be a great way to get the voter turnout for your conference. So,
they do this. They do this, though. This is a huge thing that Democrats do. They have concerts, and they sponsor these events in some way where I worked for a nonprofit out of Chicago. They sent me to a Death Cab for Cutie concert at the time, my favorite band, and they just said, you get all access backstage, and you got to get these people to fill out these registration forms. And I was like, done.
Yeah.
I'm at a concert in Chicago with 5,000 people or whatever, getting people to vote. That's what they do.
Yeah.
The other thing I'll add is, dude had a PJ waiting for him at the municipal airport, 15 minutes away, which is not something you can just book. Well, look.
It's not a major airport either.
It's not a major airport. Yeah. It's a very small municipal airport.
In the middle of nowhere.
And this is Frederick. It's Frederick Municipal.
Yeah.
There were paparazzi waiting. Paparazzi was waiting at Frederick Municipal. This airport has no security. It's a 4-foot tall chain link fence. That's how small it is.
Wow.
You walk up and you open the gate. You lift a little thing up and open it. You're on the runway.
Wow.
So they got a jet booked for this place. If you want to give them the benefit of the doubt. Kanye West is very, very rich.
Yeah.
And here's what would have had to have happened most likely for him to pull this off. He got offended at the questions being asked, storms off the show completely legitimately, calls his buddy who knows someone who has a jet on the tarmac at Mercer in New Jersey, which is where his jet came from because we checked, and convinces them, hey, don't take your flight, which was perfectly fueled up to fly from Mercer to Maryland to Los Angeles. Give it to me instead. That's plausible, but I think it's very unlikely.
Highly unlikely, bro.
So here's how it works. People need to understand. When you're booking like a legit big private jet, Gulfstream or something, it has to be fueled. And often they can't make the trips. You need a big jet. If you're going to go from East Coast to West Coast, these smaller jets can't handle it. So if your turboprop's not going to handle it, you're going to need, maybe like a Gulfstream or something. Not necessarily that crazy. But it came from New Jersey Mercer. I've dealt with this before. When you're trying to book a private charter, as soon as the agency calls the ground crew, they have to wait 8 hours because there's a rest period or something like this. It's like a safety thing. So they call the person and say, hey, you're going to be flying out. Okay, I'll see you in 8 hours. I had this issue once where I'm trying to fly back, and the pilot said, I'm over hours. I can't fly anymore, so your jet can't leave without a new pilot. And all the charter companies said, you can't. It's impossible. Because as soon as we call any pilot, he has to wait 8 hours before he can fly your plane. You're screwed. Have a nice day. So 2 things. A jet came from New Jersey Mercer, landed at Frederick Municipal, fueled up and ready for a trip to Los Angeles with the crew capable of flying and paparazzi waiting at the airport. I think the dude's a genius. I think he strategized this well beyond anything having to do with us. And everybody says, well, what's the point? I'm like, bro, he got the front page of every newspaper by doing this.
Talking about it.
No one's better at PR and winning and controlling the narrative than he did. Now the Adidas guy came out and said he's not an anti-Semite, he's cool. Like, I'm like, the dude owns the media, man. I don't know what his game is. Maybe he's bored, but he played the entire narrative, us, everybody, like a fiddle.
Wow. I'll tell you this, because I was watching that and I noticed, knowing you personally, etc., and I saw how surprised you were when he was like acting that way, and I was like, something's off here. I need to ask him about this. And I didn't get a chance to ask you last time I saw you, and I was like, but it makes sense now. Like, he comes in, he's a certain way, very, articulate, etc., and then he just goes crazy, and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? And hey, he's a master marketer,
and we got shit for it, and then everyone's criticizing us, and I'm like, wait, what?
No,
we just literally conducted an interview here. I even brought up the personal trainer that was connected to the Canadian military intelligence that works in PSYOPs in order to have a real conversation with him about that, which is critically important, because what that guy was involved in was some really crazy mind control kind of experiments. We should have got into CIA, MK Ultra. We should have got into some of the larger issues, the conspiracy issues, the bigger, deep down issues that would have helped a lot of people, that would have had a very interesting conversation, a debate. And sadly, we never had that, which I think sucks.
I kind of got a little bit of a different take, because if you watch the moments of him getting up and leaving, it's basically he says something and then Tim interrupts him while he's talking, and then Tim says something.
You're wrong. He interrupted me.
Oh, okay. Well,
he asks me a question, and before I finish, he gets up and leaves.
Okay, so there's an interruption, and then Nick says, but isn't it though? And then Tim interrupts Nick, and that was when Kanye just got up and left.
But interrupt. So the question was about, Ye asks me, who is they though? And I'm like, the corporate Democrats and the corporate press. And then Nick says, but is it really? And I said, yes. And then Ye interrupts me, gets up and leaves.
The reason I think it is because what I get from Ye is that he's just sensitive to tone. He's really into like feeling and emotion, and it was getting very heightened, and a lot of overlapping and interrupting was happening right before he left. So he might have just got agitated and whatever and just walked out.
How long were you guys talking with him prior?
It's like an hour and a half.
I talked for about 10 minutes.
Everything said on that show had been said already.
Yeah. Wow.
And the article in question about Mike Pence had been up for a half an hour, and we already talked about it. He was calm and rational and addressed all these things like normal. That's why I was surprised when he said these things to me again. And bro, he told me outright he got what he needed from being there, and he didn't need to be there anymore.
So knowing Kanye
with a jet waiting for him.
West's people and his antics behind the scenes, he's very calculated. He knows what he's doing from the very beginning. He looks crazy on camera, but off camera, he's well calculated. So
Genius.
just from what you said, I guarantee he planned out from way before.
Bro, I got no beef. Yeah. The end result of this was I get hit up by the left and the right were praising me.
Yeah.
I had left-wing organizations that hate me saying they wanted Ye to be the enemy. So they said Tim Pool pushed back on Ye. And all of a sudden these people who hate my guts are acting like I did something right.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know if it was his plan. You can say that the whole thing was one big accident, but it ended up being beneficial for us and for him and for everybody involved getting what they wanted.
Yeah.
I don't know what Ye wanted out of it. Maybe he wanted PR. He got the front page of every newspaper, every magazine.
It was everywhere.
And it's
How many live were watching that when you had him on?
I think it was 200K.
200K.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great.
I think it's been a while. I think it might have been.
I don't remember those exact numbers, but I
think it was like 190 something maybe.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, he's a smart guy, man. Very smart guy.
Speaking of
people see these public personas especially of Ye. And it's funny to me when people are like, "Oh, Donald Trump's a moron. He's so stupid," or "Kanye West is crazy." And I'm like, dude, you don't become a billionaire being crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that Ye, to a degree and to a certain degree, and to an, he's putting on a character.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, dude's doing math.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't assume that this guy's just accidentally becoming a billionaire.
Yeah.
If you want awareness, you want to be seen in the social media world, you want to be known, you have to be somewhat ostentatious. You have to be out there. You have to be kind of like almost crazy to the public because it's like, wait, why is it like this? I need to find out more about this guy. It's just marketing.